Hello, hello. Welcome to Elondinate Codes. You are watching and we are streaming a new episode of A Conversation With. My name is Elondinate and I'm just so happy to have the wonderful Poornima Nayar on today. I'm so happy, Poornima. Thank you for chatting with me today. I feel like there's so much to learn from you. We met at DevReach, like formally and in person, which was like super awesome, which was also really new for me to meet another developer in person. So I'm so happy to have you on today.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Alan, for having me on your live chat. It is fantastic. As you can see, I'm ready with a
Yes.
cup of coffee as well.
Got my
As I told
water.
you,
I got my
yes, we met
notepad.
at DevReach. I know about your wonderful .NET Book Study group. You seem to have a little community of your own, which you have created, which is fantastic always to see.
Thank you, thank you. I'm just so happy to see like where I've come, like how far I've come, and then just to meet great people like you and to get to know
Okay.
you and to understand and to share your story. Like it's an amazing day today.
Thank you so much. Yes, yeah, it was. Well, I'm talking from UK, so it is.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, it's almost like we are like 20 minutes away from 7 o'clock in the evening, but
Oh
that's
wow.
fine. The day was beautiful though. It's
Yeah,
getting cooler for sure. I'm in my jumper,
I
as you
love
can
it.
see. But yes, I'm with my cup of coffee,
Yes.
which is more than what I need for
Keep it
this time of
cozy.
day. Yeah, keep it cozy. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I'm grateful to have you on. I'm so excited to hear your story. But before we get into that, I want to go over the upcoming events in the .NET world. So let me just share my screen. Hopefully it doesn't lag too much. One second. Let's see. I see a little bit of lagging.
Yeah, there is a bit of, yeah, you have slowed down a bit for me.
Yes. But it's okay. It's cool. So, one of the amazing things that's upcoming in the .NET universe is .NET Conf 2022. I kind of talked about it a little bit in my last stream with .NET Book Study. I spoke at last year's .NET Conf, which was my first time speaking at a conference. It was super awesome. Uh, in on the webpage, it says celebrate and learn about what you can do with .NET 7 at our biggest .NET event, November 8th through 10th. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what's to come with .NET 7. I'm actually going to host a watch party in the Discord server, in the .NET Book Study Discord server. So if you guys are interested, please join the server and let's have fun together and learn together and see what's new to come. So yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen.
This is one event of the year I look forward to
Yes.
because it is full of knowledge,
Oh yeah.
absolutely full of knowledge. Not only that, they record all these sessions and they put it on the .NET channel as well, which
Yeah.
means I can go back, revisit,
Which is
and rewatch
awesome.
and learn from it, which I often do because all the sessions are so good, like
Yes.
absolutely so good. And I am really looking forward to the sessions this year as well because .NET 7 is coming and .NET just gets better and better with
Better and
every
better.
release that we have. And we have like a predictable cadence as well of releases every year now.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to this event.
Yeah. So okay, with the whole new releases every year, is that what is considered long-term support, right?
No, I think
Oh, oh,
.NET 6 was long term
oh,
support.
okay. Okay.
.NET 7 won't be. I think .NET 8 will be long-term support after this. I think I am pretty sure that's what I've got right. But yes,
Okay.
.NET 7 is not going to be. .NET 6 is.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, there's still so much to learn about that. So yeah. But let's get into the conversation.
Yes.
So Pranita, what made you get into tech and learning how to code? Like, how long have you been doing this?
Okay, you just saw me speaking about .NET and tech, even without like prompting, isn't it? We
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
my passion there too.
Yes.
So, yes, I am passionate about tech.
Yes.
Um, I think I was one of those lucky ones who decided pretty early on that programming is the career I wanted to choose in for. And I was very lucky that I got the job I wanted and I got into a stream where I wanted to be. So I was straight off out of uni and I started with iFlex Solutions in India because
Okay.
even though I live in the UK now, I shifted here after my marriage. I was born and raised in India. So straight out of uni, I joined iFlex Solutions. It was then called iFlex Solutions. It's now called Oracle Financial Services. So I got into job there, and it was 6 months of training followed
Hmm.
by production code writing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's the beginning of my career. Straight out
Wow.
of uni,
Yeah.
I was placed into this job via campus recruitment. So I think, yeah, all in all,
Yeah.
I'm grateful because I got to, I decided that this is the role or the kind of job that I wanted to be doing. And I landed up on that job pretty early
Yeah.
on.
So, okay. So let's back it up just a little bit. Did
Hmm.
you go to college and university for tech? Like, when did you like realize like this is for me? Like what was happening in your mind?
Okay, so this is back in my uni days. I am, academically speaking, I am an electrical and electronics engineer. So
Oh wow.
I'm an engineer. I chose the electrical and electronics stream of engineering back in India. And electricity and everything concerning electricity and the power systems is like more than 70% of the 4 year course. But a lot of it is to do with electronics as well. And a
Hmm.
lot of it is to do with the rest 30%, I mean, is to do with electronics,
Hmm.
engineering, as well as computers as well. So we do have compulsory two papers that we need to do in programming, which is C and C++ programming.
Oh
So
wow.
two papers which comes across like 2 years. And while preparing for the practical exams, while just writing down and solving like little programs
Hmm.
out and out, like repeatedly, I decided this is what actually a programmer does. Like real world problems, you give a logical meaning, logical solution to real world problems. That is what a
Hmm.
programmer does. I was like, this is quite nice.
Yeah.
I want to be doing this. So that's how I decided that this is what I wanted to do as a career.
Hmm.
And from there on, I started preparing, there and then what happened is what I just told you about,
Yeah.
landing up my first role as a software engineer in iFlex Solutions.
Yeah. So you said that you studied, like in terms of language, you studied C and C++, plus plus, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you stumble upon C sharp?
Okay, so when I started my role at iFlex Solutions,
Hmm.
the initial couple of months they provide you on job training. So you are put through like crash courses where you learn various
Mm.
aspects of programming. So that is when um, so when they recruit students from uni, they know who they want to assign to what projects and what
Hmm.
languages are required by for the fresh candidates to learn. So I was put in a group where we were all going to be part of .NET related projects. So
Oh.
they gave us training in .NET and C sharp and then VB.NET as well.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so that's how I got into C sharp and .NET world from there.
So you were
I
kind of just
did,
placed into the
yeah,
situation.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so from then, .NET has been a part of my journey throughout, I would say.
Yeah. So what While you were first learning C sharp, what initially stood out to you? Like, was there anything hugely different about C sharp? Was it like more difficult, easier? Like, what was your initial reaction when learning C sharp?
Um, I can't remember that, but I definitely did think that this is going to be something huge
Ooh,
because because I remember the trainer that we had. He was brilliant. He knew .NET out and out thorough at that point of time, and I was like, wow.
yeah.
So there is so much that he can do with this.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started slowly realizing that, okay, you think about anything you want to change in your computers, you can probably achieve that using .NET and C Sharp.
Oh, wow.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I don't know all of that because when I say my trainer at that point was fantastic, he himself confessed at that point that, you know what, I've been teaching for like 10 years, various different programming languages. I picked up .NET, but even then, I only seem to know like 30% of .NET. That was
Yes.
that what he told us then.
Yeah.
And we all felt that he was brilliant
Hmm.
because he was so thorough with the concepts. And even when I got into the team writing production level code, our
Hmm.
program lead, he had out and out respect for our trainer as well, saying he is terrific.
Yeah.
So even at that point, with that terrific amount of knowledge, he only knew 30% of .NET. So the first idea, as I said, was that it seems huge.
Yes.
It
Okay.
is huge. Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Because I will say, like, I do feel like that as well, like, where I just felt overwhelmed. Like, I learned something, and then I feel like, oh, I haven't really, like, I need to dive deeper. Like, I feel like what I know is like surface level. And it's also like, should I spend time on learning something like super intensely, like, or should I know how to do many different things? So like, where does that, have you ever experienced that? Do you experience it now, like, and what do you think is the best way to combat that?
Okay, definitely there have been points when I've felt overwhelmed because that is the nature of science and technology. It goes
Hmm.
at a pace which you cannot really comprehend.
Yes.
That's how it is supposed to be. But then that is a problem I cannot actually resolve myself. I need to work my way around it. So this is strictly my opinion. This is what I do. I don't think about the overwhelming part of it because personally, I am a mother and I need to keep this part of my body kind of sane with
Yes.
everything that's going on.
Yes.
So, learning, I want my learning to be fun. It's very
Hmm.
important. I need to enjoy what I learn rather than getting overwhelmed by what I don't know. It is natural for anyone to feel that, I would say, because it's we are talking about technology. But
Hmm.
for me personally, I don't let that what I don't know aspect affect me because no matter what I do, that will always be the case
Yes.
because we
Yes.
are talking about tech, which is so fast paced. So I learn things at my own pace, but
Yes.
then if I find that it is interesting me more than what I should, what I it is interesting me at a level more than what I actually intended for,
Yes.
I
Yes.
start going deeper and deeper into it as well. So APIs, I was joking the other day that I have a thing for APIs. So I try to learn more and more about APIs, be it web APIs or minimal APIs or gRPC or GraphQL. I try to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Blazor is something that interests me, particularly when Maui came up with the Blazor aspect. I was really, really interested in it as well. So Blazor is something
Hmm.
that, sorry, I keep on learning as well. But generally speaking, I keep myself up to date with what .NET is changing or what .NET is bringing with every version every year. What are the new keywords or what are the new changes in C Sharp? But I think for me, I have accepted the fact that it's better to make my learning an enjoyable process than worry
Hmm.
about what is out there.
What is that?
what is out there to overwhelm me, because that feeling can really take over me and then completely destroy the progress that I have, the learning process that I have as well.
Yeah.
I'd rather make my learning a much more
More
enjoyable
fun. It's
experience.
about
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. And I get that completely. I feel like sometimes when I'm trying to understand like a topic or a concept, and it's like I know what's happening, but like in the back of my mind it's like, okay, I've spent like how long, like how much time on this, like a day or two, like I need to go to the next concept, and it's just
Yeah.
like, no, it's okay to just stop and and take a look and pour through the data, like
Yeah.
the ins and outs.
Have a
Yeah.
structure, try to understand the basics, get the concepts right, and then you can start diving deep. I still don't think I know like a huge portion of C sharp.
Hmm.
There are parts of C sharp and .NET which are completely unknown to me. I'm like, okay, I'll pick that up when the time is right for me to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, it can be really overwhelming, and you don't want your learning process to be affected by that.
Right. Right. So okay, so you got a job out of uni, university, we call it like college or university. Um, and then you went into iFlix,
Yeah.
right? So what made you decide to start freelancing? Like, how did you realize that that was a good like fit for you? Where did that come about?
Oh, there is a big aspect of my life missing in between iFlex and the freelancing, which is my
Yeah.
marriage and shifting to UK. So I worked for about 6, 7 years as a permanent employee in various different
Wow.
organizations in UK before I started freelancing. I started freelancing when I had my child, my daughter. I decided that I wanted a bit more flexibility around what I do, like uh, more number of days off, more time with my daughter, maybe the flexibility to
Hmm.
work from home,
Hmm.
all of that. That is the primary reason I decided to go freelancing.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, uh, it's been good because it gave me the flexibility to be with
Yeah.
her, be close to where she is at, and work from home a lot of the time, which means that my nursery runs have been quite easy.
Hmm.
It's a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute drive to where I need to drop her off and pick her up. I
Hmm.
don't need to wait for a train from the city, which takes
That's
me all the way back
awesome.
to nursery for an hour, and then pick her up, and not have that physical, or not be active, or not have that energy at the end of the day to be with my daughter either. So
Hmm.
uh, that is what made me go freelancing
Yeah.
primarily.
Yeah, and like that freedom and flexibility to do what you need to do and do what you want to
Yeah.
do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how was that transition between, being an employee to being a freelancer, and what advice could you give somebody who's also interested in taking that same path?
So it was after my maternity leave, that is 1 year, that I decided to go freelancing. So my advice is, have your skills ready for you.
Mm,
The rest will fall in path. Be sure about what you know. Don't worry about what you don't know. You can always learn that. There's time to learn that. That's fine. But
mhm.
whatever you know, make sure that you have the concepts right.
Yeah,
um,
okay.
and
Yeah.
it's a really good, great time to be in tech at this point of time, because we have a single unified .NET, which was not the case few years ago. We had a .NET framework, but that's not the case now. I'm speaking from the .NET world, but it's a great time to be in tech generally and as a programmer. So have your
Mhm.
skills shining, and be out there for you, and I think the rest will fall into path on its own.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that people watching could appreciate that that information.
Because
Um,
that's exactly what I did. I had my skills ready,
yeah.
and then my first freelancing role came through someone I knew as well from the community. So I I was a certified developer for Umbraco, which is a .NET
Mhm.
based CMS,
Mhm.
and that was one of the niche skill sets that I had as well to be an Umbraco developer. It's still .NET based programming, and my first freelancing job was with a team that I knew as well. So I think it was a great start as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what is something that you experienced in like as being a freelancer that was maybe unexpected? Like, oh, I didn't know that this happens like as a freelancer. Is there anything that's happened?
The amount of learning that I get done.
Oh, wow.
I think I learned a lot during my freelancing career because as a freelancer, you're always expected to hit the ground running and get started like pretty quickly. So
Mhm.
you learn a lot on the course of your job. You pick
Mhm.
up a lot more things. I think this is my personal experience.
Yeah.
I think I have learned a lot during my freelance time because when you become a freelancer, once you get the gist of what is happening, you know that okay, you need to polish up your skills. You need to know what is happening around you. So
Mhm.
that that was learning is always a good thing, but I think the amount I learned, it was a really good thing. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So okay, like when you're studying, like how long do you study and how often do you study? Like what is the sweet spot for you?
Um, there is no how long I study because I fit it around my daughter as well.
Mhm.
I don't let whatever I do come in the way of giving her the love and care that she needs to do. Right now, she is at her Beavers Club as we speak, so which is this is perfect. This is why I said
Yes,
yes. We'll have the conversation on the
it's
Wednesday
perfect.
evening because it's perfect.
Yes.
So once she is home from her school, I am mostly with her doing the work with her, talking to her
Mhm.
about what she does in the day. It's usually at night times. If I want to read, I read. Or sometimes she might be doing her work. I'll be sitting down with her with my book in my hand or just watching something like a
Yeah.
YouTube, a video from like a .NET channel or something, trying to kind of uh, gather some information about, hey, that looks interesting. I might want to see what's going on. So if it's like a 20 or 30-minute video, I
Yeah.
can like easily watch that while she's doing her work as well. So it's a it's a bit of a juggle, but
Mhm.
nothing that is impossible.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this leads me into my next question about balance. Like I know that you are a parent. So like how has that balance been? Like has it always been the perfect balance between you, you know, doing your freelancing as a developer, and being a parent? Like how do you work that out? Like and has it always been that way?
Not necessarily, because let's be realistic here. um, there are times when it's all out of place because um, there has been circumstances where I have to be working some extra hours, maybe because of project pressure or something like that. But then my husband is equally supportive because he's in tech. He understands the pressures equally as well. So we work it out between the three of us. So if I
Mhm.
cannot do something, my husband helps out with
That's
that easily.
awesome.
So that support is always there at home, but I try to not make that like a long term thing
Mhm.
where I know when the alarm bells go off and things start turning amber and red. And I'm like,
Yes.
that won't do. I need to be where I am. I need that back. So yeah, I try to I try to be where I need, especially with my
Okay.
child and my family. I try to be where I need and do whatever I need at home most of the time. But let's be realistic. Work life balance, it's it's ideal. Many people have achieved it,
Mhm.
but there are that odd moments where things go haywire,
Yeah.
and yeah, that is when reality kicks in.
You're
I
like,
do
"Whoa."
some work, some extra work, and then I can see amber amber traffic lights, red traffic lights,
Yeah.
and when it goes, alarm babes, or like, you know, everything red and flashing.
Yeah.
Nope, that won't do. I need to get back.
Yeah. So that's like when like the support comes in,
Yeah.
asking for help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as much as I get all this kind of work issues, my husband is in tech as well. He has the
Oh,
old
wow.
patching going on and things like that as well. So we keep ourselves up to date about what both of us are doing. Like if we have extra hours and extra commitment that comes in all on a sudden, we both are aware and we try to work it out. I think it's the reality of life.
Yeah. That
Uh,
makes perfect
yeah.
sense. Yeah. And that's awesome that you have that support as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Oh my God. It's never a one-person job. It
Exactly. Yeah.
takes mother and father to
Yeah.
handle the pressure, I guess.
So, how has parenthood shaped your coding journey and like the way that you learn, the way that you build apps or anything like that? How has it influenced your coding journey?
I think more than the coding journey, it's the learning journey that I've been influenced because um, most of us, like personally for me, after a certain point, I think I was losing or failing to see the fun in learning. So when my
Mm,
child started her nursery, she's getting introduced to the world.
yes.
She's looking at the world like a 12-month-old, a 1-year-old baby, a toddler. She's looking into the world. She's getting herself introduced to the world. And I could see how intrigued she's becoming with the things around her. She was enjoying the process of, touching things, feeling things, understanding what goes around her.
Hmm.
So that was like a mirror held in front of me saying that, you know what, learning
Hmm.
should be fun.
Yeah.
You need to uh, you need to see learning as fun.
Yeah.
So that was like a wake up call for me, I guess. So
Yeah.
I tried to find joy in what I learn and what I do as well.
Hmm.
Enjoy what you're learning. uh,
Yeah.
that's what I do at the moment.
I like what you said, enjoying the process, because that's
Yeah.
something that is like you already know, like you hear it all the time, like it's all about the process, it's all about the journey, not the destination, but still you can kind of like fall off and be a little bit more goal oriented.
Yeah.
And and I find that's all like that. I find that within myself where it's like you want like the goals, you want to meet the goals,
Yeah.
but kind of falling back and remembering that it is important to enjoy the process. It's funny that I read an article and I learned of a concept today called post success depression.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, 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 no.
So it's like this thing where you have a goal and you base your entire identity around
Entire
that goal,
energy. Oh, yeah, yeah.
and you put it on a pedestal and like once I do this, I'm gonna do this and I'll be this and people will see me as this. But then once you actually meet that goal, there's an emptiness within
Yes.
you because like now you're just like, okay. All right, like you still kind of feel the same. And it's because you're not enjoying the process, you're not enjoying the journey, you're more looking towards the
Towards the goal.
destination.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because that tires you out as well. Like you are putting 110% of what you are and what you have into that single thing on the pedestal.
Yeah.
It's logical if you look at it. There's so much your body can cope up to pressure and all the external forces as well. So yeah, so this is it all makes sense when you
Hmm.
actually explains it. But yeah, enjoying the process. You do have a goal, but
Yeah.
if you enjoy that process within, it is far more satisfying, I feel.
Yeah. And just resting in it, like, hey,
Yeah.
this, and like acknowledging, like, this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the process, taking it moment by moment and not really, you can question it because I feel like you're like that's your right to like question the way you do things, and like if you really want this goal. But also like just it's okay to just rest in the fact that it's all a part of the process,
Yeah.
and to not put our goals so high up where it like we think that the whole world would change once you hit that
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think if when you having a high goal, it's fine,
Yes.
but as long as you enjoy the process of what takes you to that goal and find meaning in that, I think um, in that process you might actually find yourself less overwhelmed.
Yes.
So remember we spoke about how the latest tech and the developments in tech can kind of overwhelm you and tire you out thinking that you haven't learned enough. But
Mm-hmm.
if you enjoy that learning process, you might not worry about it as much, I feel. This
Yeah.
is me talking from my personal experience. I try to just look at what I'm learning. Let
Yes.
me see if I can pick this up, understand that concept, enjoy that in the process. Okay, I want to learn something about GraphQL. I want to understand the deeper meaning of it. Why is it put in place?
The why.
But yes, I can read the entire GraphQL spec that is out there and then, yes, tick that off. But have I gained something in that path? Can I remember at least one word or one sentence out of what I have
Mm,
understood from that process? I think that is what is more important.
yeah. Yeah. I and it's so funny to say that too. Like even when I was studying yesterday, I felt like at first I was annoyed that I didn't understand something like at a glance, like when I first saw it and when I first read it. And then I was like, it frustrated me, and I just like had to pick it apart, and I had to like see like, okay, what does this mean? And if I do this, then what does that mean? And then mid study session, I realized, hey, I like this.
Yep.
I like the I like the process of not knowing and then knowing and then eventually understanding
Yes.
and implementing like
Yeah. I think everyone goes through that.
yeah.
So it's all about being in that context and
Hmm.
just just keep pushing yourself,
Yeah.
in a gentle and nice manner,
Nice.
enjoying the
Yes.
process. That is what matters eventually.
Yes, using kind words like, "Hey, I don't know it right now,
It's
but I
fine.
will know it."
Yeah. So yesterday I was speaking at this meetup about gRPC, and GRP, the protocol buffers underneath the hood, uses a brilliant algorithm behind the scenes. So I was more interested more about the encoding aspect of it. So I started looking at the documentation
Mm,
for encoding of protocol buffers. I still don't get it. I'll be
yes,
very honest. I think I'll have to read it 10 times or 20 times even to understand it.
that's
But
fun.
hey, it's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a point I was like,
It's like
this
cracking
is
the
talking
code.
about two's complement. I need to go back to my high school
Yeah.
and learn about, or at least watch a YouTube video about two's complement
Yeah.
and refresh myself. So I was at the meetup yesterday. We all touched base on this topic, and someone actually explained about two's complement and zigzag, and I was like, yes, this is what exactly I told myself in my head at that point. I need to go back to high school and revisit that about two's complement.
You gotta back it up a
It's
little
fine.
bit.
I don't understand it. It is
It's
fine.
cool. It's
But
cool.
I know that it is cool. I know that these are the keywords that I need to watch out for. So I'll take it in stride. I learn
Yeah.
it. It's fine.
Yes, it's fine and it's fun and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to parenthood, because we were talking a little bit before about how being a parent shaped the way you look at code and the way that you learn. How has your parents shaped? Because I remember you saying that you have a very like beautiful story about like how your mother impacted your journey. I would like to know more about that.
I think more. My mother has been my support pillar. She's at least during the early days of school, she's been my support pillar, making sure that I have a routine, like come back from
Mm.
school. We were in a much more traditional schooling setup those days where we used to have daily homework, like written daily homeworks
Oh wow.
and things
Yeah.
like that. So the initial part of my school, I still do remember very vaguely. Like her helping me out
Hmm.
with my homework and things like that. But growing up, when I started reaching high school level, it was more my dad helping me out with my daily work, especially with max. I know there was a point I struggled a bit, and then he came to the rescue. But I think it was more about having that daily routine of, yeah, a bit of time every day for study so that you don't lose that touch with whatever you're doing at school. I
Yeah.
think that's been instilled on very early on in my life
Hmm.
from my parents. And my grandmother was a high school teacher herself, so I have seen her reading like immense amounts while I was growing. So I think
Wow.
consciously or unconsciously that has affected me as well. Like my grandfather was a lawyer, so he used to read a lot, and he used to bring in a lot of newspapers as well. Like three
Hmm.
or four different newspapers used to be at home like every day. So
Wow.
my grandmother used to read that like on a daily basis. So I've seen people around me read a lot. So I think that has actually influenced me, I think.
So, and that's a good point too. Like with reading, like, do you learn the best by reading, or is it like videos? Like the way that your family has influenced your the way that you learn. Like, do you feel like reading is your, I guess, the best way for you to learn how to code?
I think it's a mixture at the moment.
A
So
mixture.
back then, there was no concept of videos. Um, it was all books. But
Oh,
now it
okay.
is a wish. It's a mixture. So, for example, my child at school, they learn a lot of things through the CBBS videos,
Hmm.
um, and everything is so readily available. Say on YouTube, there are things which a video can explain to her better
Okay.
than me trying it 50 times. There are like I have experienced that like firsthand.
Hmm.
So I was teaching her how to use a dictionary.
Hmm.
It was very hard for me to explain that to her, but I showed her a little video of this is how it actually works, and then she picked up the basics.
Hmm.
Of course, I'm not a teacher, so there is that aspect as well. But I would say learning these days is a mixture.
Okay.
With kids, it's a totally different story. You need
Hmm.
to have a balance. But when it comes to programming, I actually do it as a mixture of
Okay.
videos. I try and find good blog posts about things that I want to learn. And if I'm really, really invested into something, I go myself buy a book on the
Yeah.
topic
Yeah.
and read that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, the reading. So it's
Yeah.
like you that reading and that foundation of the routine, it sounds like it was instilled in you, which made it
Yeah.
easier to just kind of like
Yeah.
just pick the topic and you're there. Like
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep. I don't have a routine with my study because I do have my daily job, and then the
yes.
evenings go with my child and my family. But sometime in between, I try to find like a 20 minutes over a cup of coffee or something to read,
Yeah.
or maybe read a blog post while I'm sitting down and doing
Yeah.
her work with her, but sitting her by her side. So yes, a bit of learning, even if it's like 15 minutes a
Yeah.
day, that's
Yeah,
that's good enough for me.
it still sounds like a routine, even if it's not at the same time of the
Time,
day.
yeah.
It's the fact that you're still touching it, like, okay, I still need to find time, like wherever I can fit in my schedule.
Fidgeted, yeah.
Yeah, like it's still, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like it's still a routine. It's just, flexible,
It is a
flexible
flexible
within the day,
routine.
which is still good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that is important. I don't feel guilty if I don't read something on a day.
Good.
That is also fine. I try not to kill myself with that guilt as well.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I try to go find something useful to read. and read that as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So how did you get into speaking? Like how did you, was that like a stumble, or did you always love to speak, or like how did that start?
It was a stumble. So I'm a part of the Umbraco community as well, and I think, was it in 2019 or 20, yeah, 2019.
Okay.
um no, 2018, the latter part of 2018, the organizers of Umbraco German Fest contacted me saying, "Hey, do you want to speak about something or anything at all? We've seen you around. We think that you might have something to share." I was like, "Okay, this is good. You are getting asked to speak. So I do have to speak now. It's always nice to say a yes. But what do
Yes.
I speak about?" I was like, okay, I had a brain freeze for the
Yep.
longest amount of time, and then
Yep.
I did a very non-tech talk about how you can be a part of Umbraco community. Um, and once the talk was done with, I was like, you know what? I should talk more often
Talk
because I like
more.
the process.
Yeah.
And then I did a talk later on in the year at the Swedish Umbraco Fest, which was like a semi tech topic about open source
Hmm.
and contributing to Umbraco, which is open source. And it was like, okay, fine. But then once I started talking about tech, I was like, okay, now I am really enjoying this process of content creation.
Yeah.
And come 2020, when we were all in a lockdown, everything started turning virtual. That's the latter part of 2020 is where really started doing a lot of these virtual talks, because I started enjoying that process. And what I discovered is that if I wanted to learn something, I just usually sign up a talk for it. And then it
Ooh.
makes me learn, it makes
You have
me
a reason to
do the
learn it.
work. Yeah, do
Yeah.
the work as well. So that's um, one way of learning as well. And once I started learning things for a talk, I realized that, hey, this is interesting. I want to learn more about it now.
Hmm.
So gRPC is something that I picked up that way. I don't use it in production, but
Yeah.
once I started touching the topic, I was like, this is really interesting. I want to do more about it. I want to learn more about it. So
Yeah.
that's one way of doing things. But that process of content creation really excites me, finding the right material, understanding the concepts, um, and finding the topics that interests me,
Yeah.
and understanding it, learning it, teaching my attendees what it is all about, and you know making them understand my take on it.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that content creation process. So yeah.
That's brilliant. And I love that you don't even have to know the topic, like the ins and outs, the complete ins and outs of your topic before it's like saying like, "Hey, I'm going to talk about this." Like you don't have to be an expert at the beginning of it, but understanding that through the journey of preparing, that's when you're learning and you're exploring.
Yeah,
I
yeah. So
love
in such
that.
talks, I give myself enough time to do that as well, because um, as much as it is okay to say, no, I don't know the answer to the question, it's always nice to answer some of the questions people have at the end. So I give myself enough time if I'm preparing for a new topic, so that I completely gather the concepts well,
Yes.
because it's the concepts that's always um, the key. Once
Yeah.
you have the concepts in your hand, then everything else will fall in place.
I love
So
that.
in such cases, I give myself enough time. uh, but yes, usually there have been instances where I wanted to learn something and then I signed up a talk for it. For example, I think one of the talks I did at NDC London around Blazor and GraphQL, that's
Mhm.
because I wanted to learn more about Blazor and more about GraphQL as well, that I
I
signed
love
up for that
it.
topic. So,
Yeah.
and that went a long way with me, because I didn't know when I actually signed up for that topic that it was going to be such a popular topic. And I think I spoke about it in like 7 different ways or something.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so it was fun, because every
Fun.
time I did that talk, I learned something new. which was
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. It was very, very satisfying for the content creator in me. Uh, but then there has been things which I picked up, say like grpc, which I picked up for a talk on rest graphical and grpc, like a comparison. And then I realized, okay, grpc sounds interesting. I need that more. I need to learn about it more. I need
Mm-hmm.
to kind of travel more with grpc. And then I have given a full-fledged talk on grpc, just focusing on
I love it.
what grpc is all about. So
Yeah.
it can go a lot of different ways, but it's a really great way to learn things.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do a lot of this kind of content creation, when you actually come to use that in a production environment, you know that, you know what, I have read about this somewhere. There's something that you can do about this if get stuck with a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and then go find the solution and work it out and then carry on with the work as well.
I
So
love this. I'm sorry, like I just feel like overcome with emotion just because like I love that. I love that this is a community where you don't have to be the expert before getting to talk about something, like before speaking at a conference or like anything like that. It's like you can make the journey fun just by learning and then knowing that, hey, I'm learning something so I can help other people understand it. I can share what I've learned and we can have a conversation about it. And that I I think that's just the beauty of the .NET community. Um,
absolutely, absolutely. I don't think it's possible for anyone to know everything about a topic. That would be just awesome, but I don't think there is anyone like that. But more often, what I find is when you go to this talks like this, usually someone has a question. Maybe I'm the speaker, I give an answer, and then someone else from the crowd adds on to what I've just said, and that
yeah,
that becomes an interesting conversation in
yeah,
itself.
yeah,
And even from those questions, I learn more and more. Everyone can learn more and more. So that is another another fun aspect or interesting aspect of it as well.
yeah. I love it. I love it so much. And I was wondering, like, how did you stumble upon the .NET community? Like, was it from Umbraco? Because I'm not really familiar with Umbraco. Like, I don't know if that's anything to do
Yeah.
with .NET. Like, how did you find the community?
So I was always so I think back in 2012 or 2013, that's when I got introduced to Umbraco. And then then I came to know about a community which was quite active around Umbraco, which is an open source uh, .NET based open source CMS. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a community creating packages. There was a community helping out other like people who have like issues with their Umbraco installs and
Mm-hmm.
technical issues around Umbraco, something that they're trying to solve. There was a very active forum, and um, that is how I came to know about this little community. And they started running like conferences here in UK. So I think back in 2015, that was when I attended my first UK Umbraco festival. And that is where I actually got to see many of the people I've actually spoken to online with
Yeah.
forums and things like that.
Yeah.
So it was quite nice. And that's where I came to know, okay, there's a little community around it. And then ever since that, I've been a part of that community. So helping others. Um, there was um, there is still a team which looks after the community, the contributions to Umbraco
Mm-hmm.
being an open source project. So basically, pull requests. So um, in 2019, a team was formed with community members
Mm-hmm.
who would look after the PRs, with someone at the HQ kind of leading the team. So when the team was formed, I became a part of the team because I wanted to learn more about open source and help the
Yeah.
project as well. It was very rewarding because I got to see what people are doing with open source. And now it's a perfect time to talk about it as well because it's
Ooh.
Hacktoberfest time as well.
Woo.
So it was quite inspiring to see what people out there are doing, and how people are contributing to an open source project. And that's where I learned that it's just not code contributions which are actually open source contributions. You raise an issue, you talk about Umbraco,
Mhm.
you write a blog post, you speak at an event. All of these are contributions as well. So that was fun. And then I've always been a part of that community, and I'm still a very active member of that community,
Yeah.
attending meetups and talking at conferences, etc. But talking more about the .NET community specifically, I started doing more of the .NET conferences like latter half of 2020.
Mhm.
So then I got nominated for the Microsoft MVP, and then
Beautiful.
once I got in there, I have pushed myself more and more to learn more things in .NET and talk at Umbraco as well as .NET conferences as well, which has
I
been
love it.
fantastic. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And it's a lovely place as well. A lot of lovely, friendly people, always happy to help. So it's fantastic.
That's awesome. So, one thing I noticed that is different, at least to me, like when I went to your website, I noticed that you had a music section on your website.
Yeah.
And when I like explored it, it was uh, basically like a blog of Carnatic music, correct?
Yeah.
So, how has music impacted your journey? Like, it seems like it's so such a huge part of you to the point where you put it on your website, which is so
Yeah.
cool. So like how special is Carnatic music to you, and why? Like, how has it influenced you?
um, it is, as you rightfully said, it is a huge part of me. It's my way to unwind. It's that thing which has got the calming effect on me, I guess. I think if I have survived through the lockdown, I think it's got a lot to do with the music
Yeah,
that
the
I
music.
practice as well. Yeah, absolutely. So going for a long walk with music, Carnatic music in my ears is like the best thing for me. Like it's like my absolute dream. Dreaming, like the moment when I dream. So I have been training Carnatic music vocals for the past 5 years. So
Wow.
I started it with the idea of, having like 1 hour to just myself during the week, because, being a mother, being a freelancer, it can get overwhelming. So I just wanted that
Hmm.
one thing, which is just for myself, just to kind of calm me down. And of course, music has always been with me. I have trained in the past as well, but I didn't want to lose touch with it, because
Hmm.
after a long gap of not singing, your voice can have the shiver and it can lose
Mm,
its polish. So I thought,
yes.
let me start training again. But I have this wonderful teacher. She encourages me to learn and listen a lot. So I listen to like insane amounts of Carnatic music,
Wow.
because as much as singing is a part of your vocal training, training your ears is also a big part of it. So it goes both ways. So I
Yeah.
listen, and that blog is because I really wanted to, I still want to like write about ragas, which are like melodies or
Melodies.
anything related to Carnatic music that I can read about. But the amount of research that goes into one blog post about a raga is basically a melody. There are like millions of melodies. Basically, it's because it's a permutation and combination of 7 notes and
Hmm.
various placements of it. So you can imagine about like millions of permutations and combinations. But to if you've been through my blogs, like I've only got three ragas in place. I wanted to ideally do at least two a month, but the
Hmm.
amount of research that goes into it needs to be like spot on. You need to
Wow.
have the right amount of information, and there, when you write about something like a raga, there needs to be some information, some basic information about it as well. They're like, what is the characteristic of that raga, what time it is suited for, what mood it can evoke in you, and
Ooh.
some of the compositions that you can listen to understand
That is
how that
interesting.
melody works as well. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. It's still a dream for me to blog at least about two ragas once like two ragas in a month.
Mhm.
But I think I have not kept up with it.
Okay, so like if somebody was like interested in Carnatic music, like what are some resources that they could, utilize to get into it, to explore and learn about it?
um, okay, that's a good question because
Maybe we can
uh,
build an app.
if you want to know like basic definition of Carnatic music, Wikipedia is your starting point. Because if you are someone who is completely new to the term and you want to know basics of it, go to the Wikipedia page for Carnatic music. Because what I usually use is like a variety of blog posts, because I am after specific melodies or specific compositions based on a melody, like understand more about a melody rather than understand more about Carnatic music as such. Because there are technical terms which probably as a beginner you don't need to understand. But if you want to understand the concepts, the Wikipedia page is more than a good starting point for you. And from there you can build upon. But when I research, it's usually a composition that I hear, I want to know more about the melody, what more is available in the melody, research on that, and then listen more. That is, it's a very different path that I take because I am a student as well. I need
Wow.
to listen, and it's not just one composition sung by one person that I have to listen to. It's like the same composition sung by different people that I listen to as well, because it is art. Everyone has a different
Yeah.
way of adapting
Take.
it.
Yeah.
So it helps me to understand the various different styles and still help build up a style of my own as well. It's a very, very long journey. I don't even
Wow.
know whether
It's
I'll,
a journey.
I'll
It's a
make it in the
process.
journey, but it's fine. I am enjoying the process. um, Music gives me the calmness that I need in my life. So not that I'm like really busy and like pulling my hair apart, but somewhere or the other I have felt that during that COVID lockdown period particularly, it has had a calming effect on me. Like
Yes.
I'm much more calmer as a person.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's
It's
very
music, so
peaceful and relaxing.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but not, the fun fact is not all melodies have that soothing effect on you. There are some
Oh.
melodies like Nilambari or Ananda Bhairavi which has that soothing effect on you, like this.
Hmm.
So uh, therapy around music is a large part of research, what some of the veterans in India have done, like healing process with music, Carnatic
Wow.
music. It is a research path in itself, and veterans have gone down that path. But then there are melodies like Jagan Mohini. If you listen to it, you are like really energetic. If I go to sleep putting a Jagan Mohini in place, I don't think I'll be able to sleep because
Oh, wow.
the raga is so energetic. Say for there's another raga called Punnagavarali. Again, it creates a very different mood. Again, I cannot go to sleep. But something like a Neelambari, a soothing Neelambari, I actually sing Neelambari to myself
Oh,
when I'm
wow.
feeling overwhelmed because it just calms you down.
Ooh, I love it. I'm gonna explore. I'm gonna do some exploring myself too. That's awesome.
Definitely, music has that effect on you, and the science behind it is your body is like a huge part fluid. So the sound
Mm,
waves resonating with the body fluids is actually helping you and creating that mood
that's
inside you,
brilliant.
like relaxing or energetic.
Yeah.
Um, it's the vibrations. So
Hmm. Yeah, like okay, so that's so funny that you say that because for me, like even when it comes to like doing these live streams, like music is huge for me. Like I
yeah,
have like a whole 5 minute
Yeah, it was
song
totally
at
peppy, and I got taken back to a song which I've listened in the past as well. It is from a Bollywood movie. It's from the
yeah.
70s. It was a very peppy number. It actually reminded me of that as well.
Oh wow. It was meant to be then. But yeah, like it's like I feel like for me, music it just adds to the whole experience of just living, and like I feel like music needs to be incorporated everywhere. Like even like if I'm just chilling at home or anything like that, I'll have music on in the background because it's like, okay, let's set the scene. Like
Yeah.
what kind of scene do I want in my life right now? Like,
It's a thing for me. Like when I have guests, like say over for dinner or something, if I'm cooking an elaborate meal for everyone, I have music on in the
yeah,
background because that just keeps me going.
yeah,
I just say to my husband and daughter, don't come into the kitchen. Anything and everything, you just ask me, I'll bring it to you. But
yeah.
kitchen is my zone. There's loud music on. I just
I'm in the
carry on
zone.
working. Yeah.
Like, and then it's funny because like even when it comes to me studying, like and coding, like I have this one song that I play. Like if I feel like reluctant, like oh I don't feel like studying right now, like I play this one particular song. I'm not gonna say it, but like it just gets me into the zone, and then it kind of brings me back to the time where I was first super excited to learn how to code, which is like 2 years ago. It just brings me back to that time and that motivation, and it's like okay, let's go. I'm hypnotizing myself, so
Yeah. It's fine.
yeah,
Music.
music is music and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. Let's take a look at the chat. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people in the chat. TC Coder says, "Hi, Elon." Hi, TC. We have Fuel Snabble from Twitch. Hello. And so even numbers are long term, odd numbers are short term. I'm not really sure what that one is about, but hi, Badger. TC Coder says, "This is great advice." And then Badger says, "Having a project that's fun is great advice. I've also found that frustration works as well. As in, hey, this problem exists. That's bugging me. I'm going to solve it and automate it."
Yeah, absolutely. Having a hobby project is a really great way to learn as well. Of course, frustration works, um, because as developers we are problem solvers. We try to find solutions, um, but yes, make sure that you actually tackle the problem. Don't let that problem kind of eat your way in. But having said that, I need to practice what I preach as well. Because it's
Don't we
it's
all?
natural for a developer, I feel, as a problem solver, to kind of have something like a problem that constantly bugs you, and you know where you find solutions to it. It might be over a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
or it might be like midnight. I have got the answer to it.
When you're sleeping, like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
problem and the
yeah,
solutions. So
absolutely.
let's see. Badger also says sci-fi, lo-fi music is what I've been listening to. It helps me concentrate on coding. Oh wow. I listen to like lo-fi hip hop when I'm coding, but sci-fi lo-fi, that I gotta look up. That sounds interesting. .NET releases.
Yep,
Even numbers are long
are
term,
long term.
odd or short. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm learning something new today while tackling a
not
problem.
tackle
Yeah,
like the problem keeps you away from everything else that you need to, like, it nags you to the point that you cannot go ahead without solving that issue.
it's like an itch, like or like you're wearing
Yeah,
an itchy
yeah.
turtleneck, and you're just like, I gotta find out. Like I need to solve this. So it looks like, oh, okay, so we are over an hour. Great conversation. So what advice would you give to any like code newbies who are just starting out, learning C sharp and learning .NET? What's some advice that you could give them? And
We
also,
spoke
sorry,
in this.
second part. And what do you hope to see in the future, like in your journey? Any like accomplishments, any goals? Like what do you hope to accomplish in the future? So that's it's a two-parter.
Okay. The first part, the answer is simple. We've been talking about this all evening. Enjoy the
Yes.
process of learning. The
Yes.
rest will come to you in a very natural way, even with even without you realizing it. It will all be fine. Don't let the size of what you're trying to learn overwhelm you.
Hmm.
Just go with the have a structure, have an idea of what you want to learn, but don't get overwhelmed by the issue that you want to tackle or what you want to learn. Enjoy the process of learning. So that's the best advice I can give anyone. Regarding the future, what it holds for me, mm, um, maybe I don't know. I do a lot of talks,
Yes.
so maybe more and more mentoring people that way,
Ooh, that's
teaching,
fun.
because at the end of the day, all the talks that I do is a way of teaching people.
Yeah.
So um,
So you are a
some
teacher.
exactly, yeah. So continue what I'm doing at the moment is what I would be looking at, because I enjoy that process of
Yes.
content creation. So I want to keep doing what I'm doing at the moment, I would say.
Sounds like you're in that perfect sweet spot, which is awesome. Okay, so if anybody wants to reach out to you, like where can they find you at?
You can reach out to me on Twitter. Poornima Nayar is my Twitter handle. Yeah, that's the handle. I am also on LinkedIn if you want to get in touch with me on LinkedIn.
I also have your website on here too.
Yes, I don't have like a contact me on that one. I don't think so.
Okay.
I try to be, I try to blog, but if I'm busy doing talks like I'm right now, don't, I don't blog there
Yeah.
because
Makes
it's just a
sense.
lot to keep up. Having said
Yeah.
that, I might blog this month about something. Uh, I need to have a proof of concept in place first before I blog about it, but I
Got
will
it.
try and do that
Well, I look
in
forward
between
to
my
it.
airport transfers, probably.
Yes. Yes. Very busy, very busy.
Yeah.
Well, Poornima, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This was a great, fun conversation. I feel like we all have learned a lot. Again, thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Yes, thank you for having me, Alan. It was fun talking and, just having a conversation over my kappa.
Awesome, awesome. Take care, everybody.
Bye.